welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an awesome day today. So I am so excited for today's tutorial. I am going to be showing you how I made this straw basket bag. It has a really long strap because I designed it with this crossbody style strap, and then it has these two little handles at the top, and it's obviously a round shape. I think it turned out so cute, and I'm gonna love wearing this a lot this summer. So I thought it'd be fun to share with you how I made it and the process. And the technique that I used makes it pretty versatile, so I think you would be able to make a lot of different style of straw bags once you get it down. It would be such a great little project as we get ready for summer, something to do while you are watching Netflix or listening to a podcast. So if you're curious to see how I made this, I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the tutorial.
So to get started, you're going to need some straw braid. I got this on Amazon and it's 1/2 of an inch thick, and I'm going to go ahead and steam that and spritz it with a little bit of water to make it easier to fold into our round shape for the front and back. So to start, I'm just going to fold over the end to create a little beginning for that spiral. So I'm just folding that end over onto itself so it makes that round shape, and then I'm going to steam it down with my iron to secure it and then stitch it in place. So to stitch this together, I'm just using white all-purpose thread and then a small sharp needle that makes it easier to stitch through the straw. And for this beginning part, I'm just going to secure this with some stitches. The white thread doesn't really show, so I'm just going up and down through the straw until it feels really secure. So now that that's all secured down, I'm going to start folding this straw into a spiral. So what really helps with this is to keep it damp. So I spritz it with some water and steam, and that helps it be more flexible. And I'm just going up through one side of the straw and then go up again through the opposite side. So you're creating kind of a zigzag pattern with your stitching and going back and forth to secure the straw to itself without having any overlap. This is what's going to give us that nice spiral shape, and you'll see me do this over and over as we go through this video. It's a pretty simple technique, just going up through one side and then up through the other, and you may find that it doesn't want to stay together as you're stitching, but stitch along a few stitches and then pull on your thread, and that will bring it together as you keep going. From here on, it's going to get pretty simple. I'm going to keep stitching this until my spiral reaches 8 inches in diameter, and that's the size that I wanted for this bag, and you could do this to any size that you want, but keep in mind that you may need more or less straw just depending on how big you want it. And I do keep spritzing this and using steam just to keep it easy on myself as I go, and that just keeps the straw really flexible. But yeah, you're just going to keep repeating this process until your straw bag is the size that you want. As you go, you're going to have to rethread your needle a few times because you will probably run out of thread. I did several times. So if you run to the end of your thread, just knot it off and then trim that thread and just start again like you did from the beginning. So I'm checking the measurements here, and once you come to the end, trim your threads and then trim off the straw, leaving about a 3-inch tail, and we'll come back to this later. Then go ahead and repeat all of these steps on a second time around, and then you'll have the front and back of the bag. So now we're going to work on the sides, and to do this, I have 4 equal pieces of straw that I measured across my bag to make sure they came up to the place that I wanted. And I'm stitching these together with the same technique to make a thick band. So now all 4 pieces are sewn together and it's really secure, and I just want to trim off those ends to make sure everything's nice and even, but be careful not to cut into your stitching because that could make it come apart. You want to make sure everything's very secure, but I wanted it really straight across, and then I'm just steaming it with my iron and trying to create a little bit of flexibility and shape in this piece by curling in the ends to make it more natural for it to fit into that round shape. So now that we have the front, back, and sides, it's time to start putting this together. So to start, I'm taking that tail piece that we left on the front and back pieces and just tucking that in and steaming it down and then securing it with a pin. This gives us more of that natural curve. And then I'm going to start to stitch the sides on. So to do this, I'm just checking the placement and putting a pin where I want it to start and end. You can see I'm leaving a gap at the top because my bag is just open on the top. And then I'm going to stitch this on with the same technique that we've used throughout this video. It's a little bit more complicated going on this part of the bag because it's just more difficult to stitch from the two different angles, but I'm just going into the second row of braid in the round part of the bag and then straight into the edge of the side, and that makes it really secure and it's really not too difficult once you get it started. Just the beginning can be a little bit fiddly, so be patient with it, but it's just the same exact technique up through one side and then up through the other and just keep on going all the way around. When you come to the part of the bag where that little tail is, just make sure that you're stitching on either side of it so that it can easily tuck in and not look lumpy or anything like that. And then just keep on stitching on the other side of it. And we'll trim off that little tail in a little bit. So now we have one side on and it's time to attach the other side, and we're just following the exact same technique. And it might seem like it would be difficult to sew onto this already with the other side on, but it really isn't any more difficult than just sewing one side. And you can see that little tucked in piece just fits in really naturally right there. So I want to match those two sides up and then just mark my place with a pin and do the exact same thing. Once I've got it sewn on to past the point of the little tail, we're going to go ahead and trim those off while we can still open the bag from the side. And that just makes it a little bit easier. So I'm doing that on both sides and then just keeping on stitching until I come to the end and we have a little pouch. So here's what the bag looks like at this point. You can see it's open on top, so you can easily put things in it. We're going to add the little top handles now. So I've cut some pieces to the size that I want for those handles, and I'm steaming them into shape. So just curling it under so that it's a little bit easier for it to stay in that shape, and spritzing with water and steaming it really helps to maintain that. So now I have my handles all ready, and I'm going to go ahead and place them where I want them, and then secure those with a pin before stitching them on. So there are several ways you could secure these, but for my bag, I decided to stitch them on with some thick embroidery twine. And to do that, I'm just doing a little X shape on either side of the handle. And I just think that looks really cute. It's a nice detail and it makes it really secure, but you could just stitch these on any way you want that makes them really secure. I like the look of the little crisscross. So you'll just want to repeat this on all 4 points that the handles are attached, and I am stitching on either side of my handle about 5 times, so that really makes it very secure, and I knot it off from the back. That way everything stays in place. So now the bag is really starting to take shape. I love how it looks. I'm going to go ahead now and add my crossbody strap. So I've cut a piece of the straw that matches up to a crossbody strap on a purse that I already had, and I'm going to attach this to the sides. I'm using the same little X stitching technique that I used on the top handles, but I'm just using plain white thread for this because it's going to be covered up, and I just want to make sure it's really nice and secure. So now now for some final finishes, I've grabbed my glue gun, my hot glue gun, and I'm just going to secure down the little tails at the ends of each handle to make sure everything just has an extra amount of security. And then I've cut some little pieces that fit over the sides, and I'm going to hot glue these just over that side right there to cover up that raw edge. So I have one for this edge here and then one that fits over top of that. So it just makes it look a little bit more neat and tidy. And then I just secured anything that felt a little bit loose with my glue to make sure everything is going to stay in place while I use this bag. Here you can see that I am adding that top piece as well, and I think that makes it look very finished. So once everything is glued down, this bag is done, and I am just thrilled with how it turned out. I think it's super cute and such a great versatile accessory for spring and summer. There are also a lot of ways you could personalize this. I thought about embroidery and pom-poms and different things like that. So if you would like to see a video on how to embellish a straw bag, let me know, and I'll get working on that in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I am really happy with how it turned out, and I hope some of you guys get to try it out as well.
Alright guys, that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope some of you try this technique out. If you do, please tag me on Instagram. My username over there is just Lauren Johnson, and I would love to see what you make. And if you're not following me over there already, I'd love for you to do that as well. I post behind the scenes and updates on the videos I'm working on, so if you want to keep up, head over to Instagram. And if you're not already subscribed to my YouTube channel and you like this type of video, I have a lot of tutorials coming up in the next few weeks, so you can go ahead and subscribe to keep up with when those are posted. But that is it for me today, guys. I'm going to leave it here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Heading back to my apartment. I'm not asking for your thoughts. I'm just thinking out loud.